The Black Bear Guai is the Yaoguai king of Chapter 1 who rules over Guanyin Temple and guards the Craving Eyes relic. The Black Bear Guai often assumes the disguise of a powerful king who wields a tasseled spear. This demon stole the Tang monk's Kasaya during Journey to the West while Guanyin Temple was ablaze. He at first planned to stop the fire, but his greed upon seeing the Tang monk's robe pushed him to steal it. After Sun Wukong sought the aid of Guanyin, the demon submitted himself to the Bodhisattva and became her disciple and guardian spirit. He restored the burned temple, but after being gifted the great sage's relic, he now installs himself as king of the mountain and commands lesser Yaoguai's obedience. The black bear tried to resurrect his old companions Jinchi, Ling Shutzi, and the white-robed scholar with the power of the relic, but failed miserably. Elder Jinchi was the covetous leader of Guanyin Hall and acquaintance of the Black Bear Guai during Journey to the West, who sought to steal Tang Sanzang's mystical Kasaya. He collaborated with his disciples Guangzhe and Guangmao to set fire to the temple while the Tang monk slept and take the Kasaya for himself. Wukong foiled the plan with a fireproof spell, but the temple still burned, killing many. Now, his unresolved trauma and remorse haunt the forest as the Wandering White. The grieved monk himself remains as an optional boss within Chapter 1's hidden Guanyin Temple, where he oversees the wretched souls he killed. Note that if Elder Jinchi is defeated before the White, the spirit dissipates. Guangzhe and Guangmao were pupils of Elder Jinchi in Journey to the West and are again in Black Myth, though their lore differs. Guangzhe is a wolf guai who transformed into a monk to learn from Jinchi alongside Guangmao, a serpent guai. Both were esteemed, but Guangzhe rose to Jinchi's favored pupil and earned the envy of Guangmao. It was the wolf guai who fueled Jinchi's greed and devised the plan to burn down Tang Monk's room. Guangmao heard of this plan and sneered at his master's hypocrisy. He stirred up the winds that night, and the conflagration engulfed the entire temple. In Black Myth lore, Jinchi's pupils are actually disciples of Ling Shitzi and the white-robed scholar, who were competing Yaoguais and compatriots of the Black Bear Guai. During Journey to the West, Sun Wukong killed both Ling Shitzi and the scholar. The second wolf guai merely bears Ling Shitzi's name. He's a gray wolf from the realm of Shuito who relies on physical strength and whose claws tear flesh from bone. After the true Ling Shitzi's resurrection and suicide, the Black Wind King elevated this ferocious wolf. He's hated by many wolf guais but ruthlessly killed all who were disobedient. The white-clad noble also seems to be the resurrected Naga from Journey to the West, but he mentions coming to the mountain at the behest of his brother. Though there's little information to confirm, it's possible his brother is in fact Erlang Shen, who asked the noble to guide the Destined One's journey and ensure their success. After all, once the white-clad noble is defeated, we can acquire the fireproof mantle, which greatly aids the fight against Black Bear Guai. Bullguard is a lesser Yaoguai chief who is steadfast in his loyalty to the Black Wind King. He acts as gatekeeper to the mountain and is a formidable force. It's unclear whether his vitality is due to the pills gifted him from his king, or to the ritual of inner cultivation he performs as he ingests them. Some see him as a fool, blindly obedient and uninformed. Others see him as a sage whose simplicity and devotion yield great reward. Yellowwind Sage is the Yaoguai king who possesses the Fuming Ears relic of Wukong. He's a yellow-furred marten who can command Samadhi wind, a gale nearly impossible to defeat. In Journey to the West, the demon sage used his wind to defeat Sun Wukong, which even blinded the monkey's magical sight. Only with the help of Bodhisattva Lingchi is Yellow Wind subdued. Centuries later, he returns to the ridge and calls the unbreakable Yellow Wind formation in its center to attempt to control Wukong's relic. He carries with him the head of Lingchi, which he decapitated with the aid of the Celestial Court, as a vessel to contain the Fuming Ear's power. He seeks vengeance against and freedom from the gods and Buddhas. The king and princes of Flowing Sands are descendants of the once great kingdom of Sahali that suffered greatly under relentless assaults of the beetle Fuban. The kingdom once practiced Buddhism, but over years they turned from the religion and even abolished it, angering the bodhisattvas who sent the demon beetle to destroy the kingdom. Only the Yellowwind Sage's intervention spared Sahali. The kingdom elevated him to supreme advisor, much to the dismay of the first prince, who was an esteemed warrior, a proud leader, and heir to the throne. After the sage convinced the king to issue the Rodent Reverence Edict, the first prince openly rebelled against Yellow Wind, an act which earned him isolated confinement. The second prince, meanwhile, obeyed his father and Yellowwind completely and struggled to earn the king's favor. His simple mind was seen as a weakness that obscured his loyalty, and the king constantly overlooked him. Fuban's defeat didn't dissuade Lingqi, who then cursed Sahali, and overnight its people were transformed into horrifying rodent guais. Despite Flowing Sand's decline, the king has unwavering trust in Yellowwind and rallied to his cause upon the Martens' return to the ridge. The second prince remains at his father's side, and the first suffers bestial madness in his isolation, lurking deep within a ravine. A family of tigers are closely connected to the Yellowwind Ridge and the Sage. In Journey to the West, the tiger vanguard was the sage's lieutenant who wrapped his skin over a rock to distract the travelers and kidnap the Tang monk, but was ultimately slain by Wukong and Zhu Bajie. In Black Myth, he's an optional boss that guards the Yellowwind Sage in the memory of the kingdom of Sahali. The vanguard had 2 children, which were left orphaned after his death. They despised the Yellow Sage for their father's fate and gathered strength by subduing and governing the Yaoguais around the ridge. The pair brought peace to the land, and the Crouching Tiger Temple was erected in their honor. When Yellowwind Sage returned, the brothers fought him, but even with combined might they were outmatched. The younger was knocked unconscious, and the elder submitted himself to the sage's service in exchange for his brother's life. The elder became the new Tiger Vanguard and serves the sage reluctantly. He keeps watch over the wind formation and is fed a steady stream of Yaoguais. The younger, after learning of his brother's betrayal, seeks vengeance against both. Deemed the Mad Tiger, he resides within a village well, and to recover strength, feasts on villagers of the surrounding town, lured to him by the tiger's acolyte. This man lost his wife to illness caused by Samadhi wind, and when his son was soon to follow, sought a cure. The Mad Tiger posed as his brother and guardian deity, promising to deliver medicines in exchange for human meat. Though both were true to their word, one day the enraged villagers learned the acolyte's schemes and beat his son to death. Furious, the acolyte slaughtered the entire village before walking into the desert. The Earth Wolf is the lingering spirit of a drill master's loyal hound. The drill master was a cruel and savage man, but as a general's son, his troops endured his antics. The drill master loved hunting and would often take his wolf, but one day he returned empty-handed on a sortie and had his innocent wolf slaughtered. The troops buried the wolf and chanted sutras for its soul at night. The spirit mingled with mushrooms and roots of the earth, transforming eventually into the Earth Wolf. Upon its resurrection, it jumped happily into the drill master's arms, only to accidentally plunge its antlers in his chest, killing him. Gorai is a traveling Taoist who journeyed to Yellowflower Mountain and declared himself superior to those dwelling within its temple. The Taoist master there had the man wrapped in a cocoon and transformed into an insect Yaoguai. Gorai mutated and carried an insect-like hump on his back, dotted with beady eyes, but escaped the cocoon and made his way to Yellowwind Ridge. He used his arts to conceal his appearance, to bring rain to a dry valley, and allowed villages to flourish, but he harbored ulterior motives. With enough humans gathered, he cast an enthralling spell which wrapped everyone in bloodlust and led to heedless slaughter. As a Yaoguai, Gorai's ugly hump requires human flesh to satisfy its hunger. He feasts on the blood of the massacre, growing in power until his journeys take him to the next meal. Mother of Stones is a mountain deity of Yellowwind Ridge. One day, a stone guai became infected by strange Buddha head statues dotting the landscape, and in its quest to destroy them, instead gathered them into its own body, thus becoming Shigandang. The Buddha heads altered the guai's temperament and behavior. It preached Buddhist practices and moved against the other mountain guais. This demon was too much for Mother of Stones to subdue, and was only defeated with the assistance of Yellowwind Sage. The sage destroyed Shigandang and split its essence in two. One half he gave to the Mother of Stones, and on consuming it, bestowed her the shape and heart of a human. The deity and stone guais revered Yellowwind Sage as their king and guarded the cliffs around his retreat. To aid in the ridge's defense, Mother of Stones crafted a formidable rock guai in the stone vanguard. When the Yellow Sage returned to the ridge, he first feared the stone guai's aggression and ordered Tiger Vanguard to subdue it. But the tiger and the stone had worked together to erect Crouching Tiger Temple and bring peace to the ridge. As brothers, they united in a common cause, and both became vanguards for the Yellowwind Sage. The Keeper of the Mountain, meanwhile, hated the Mother of Stones, envied her power, and believed himself slighted out of gaining Shigandang's powerful essence. He disguised himself as a stone guai to sneak into Mother of Stone's lair and extract her essence. Though he was discovered, he partially succeeded, but gaining her power prevented him from reversing his disguise, and thus he became the man in stone. He was pummeled relentlessly by the Stone Vanguard and lesser guais for attacking the Mother of Stones. Now he lurks in the cracks of the ridge, still greedy for will and divine essence. Yellow-robed Squire is a half-drunk humanoid boar guai whose avarice directs him to the lost kingdom of Sahali, famed for its golden Buddha statues and other untold treasures. The Squire's name is a reference to the yellow-robed demon in Journey to the West, who was a reincarnation of one of the 28 heavenly mansions of the Celestial Court. He's meant to await someone at the bidding of his brother, a possible reference that he was sent by Erlang Shen to assist the Destined One. After beating him in a duel, the Squire brings the Destined One to Sahali, where it attains the Wind Tamer, a vessel critical in its fight against Yellowwind Sage. Yellowbrow, the antagonist of the New West, has established the new Thunderclap Temple and uses the power of the Hubris Nose relic to deceive and enthrall lesser beings, shackling them to his religion. In the journey west, Tong Monk and his disciples came upon Little Thunderclap Monastery in the mountains, where the elder styled himself a new Buddha. Only soon Wukong saw through the deception and Yellowbrow as a demon. Wukong was imprisoned within giant golden symbols, but with the help of the 28 celestial mansions, especially Kangjin's star, he escaped, but the celestial forces were captured by Yellowbrow's magical human seed sack. Wukong seeks aid from Maitreya Buddha, who reveals that Yellowbrow is his wayward page and defeats the demon. In Black Myth, Yellowbrow has returned and re-established his Thunderclap complex. He dons the appearance of Maitreya to fool other Yaoguais and immortals. When he summoned a meeting of immortals, only Kang Jin and the Dawn Star came as representatives of the mansions. Kang Jin Long is the second Azure Long constellation of the east and commands lightning. She again was pulled into Yellowbrow's seed sack, but with it strengthened by the Great Sage's relic, she fell under the demon's thrall. Her principles faltered, and she declared herself a disciple for her new master. The 4 demon captains were once noble soldiers under command of the 3rd Prince of Flowing Sands, skilled in subduing Yaoguais. When Yellowbrow called his summit in the New West, the prince and captains investigated, suspecting foul play. The prince was imprisoned within the pagoda realm. His captains, however, were transformed into terrible Yaoguais. They fell to madness, beguiling chance and Yellowbrow's influence, becoming the things they were trained to destroy. They are prison wardens of the pagoda realm and enact their new master's will. Only Captain Void Illusion is already dead once the Destined One arrives. Non-white, non-pure, non-able, and non-void are 4 Yaoguai chiefs that have taken Yellowbrow as their master, either willingly or reluctantly, and patrol the New West in various locations. These 4 characters are foils to the 4 disciples of Tan Songzang in Journey to the West, given by their names. Non-white is opposite Bai Long Ma, or the white horse dragon that acts as Sanzang's steed. Non-pure contrasts Shao Wujing, the humble, dependable sand ogre, whose name means sand aware of purity. Non-able sits opposed to Zhu Bajie, the stubborn and loyal if often indolent boar. His Dharma name, Zhu Wuneng, translates to pig aware of ability. Finally, non-void is opposite the great sage Sun Wukong, whose name translates to monkey aware of void. The macaque chief and its monkeys were once subordinate to Sun Wukong, unable to free themselves from his powerful aura. They toiled and suffered greatly beneath him. With his death, Yellowbrow comes to the chief as its savior. He removes the bat-like wings that grew from its back to symbolize its plight, and promised to teach it power if it submitted to him. Thus he earned the loyalty of the macaques. The chief appears again within Yellowbrow's seed sack, with its wings restored and in far more aggressive behavior, as it sees in the Destined One its long-time oppressor. The Apramana bat is a Yaoguai chief that appears gargoyle-like and imitates the statues found in temples throughout the New West. Though many such bats are found, the chief is a larger version of them, coated in gold. From its lore entry, it's a superstition that sacrificing others and giving alms to the bat will reward villagers with their greatest wishes. The green-capped martialist feigns weakness and naivety, to lead the Destined One to the melon fields deep in the New West ravines. The Martialist is a sworn brother of Erlang Shen and was sent by him to test the Destined One to determine if it could claim Wukong's legacy. Though Maitreya Buddha ensures the Martialist that he has already tested the Destined One, the monk is adamant about clashing with the monkey in combat. Following his defeat, the Destined One is taught the Spellbinder spell. Monk from the Sea was once a bizarre 10-bodied or tentacled fish guai from Bitter Lake that desired to leave its waters. Yellowbrow fulfilled its wish, taught it to read, write, and transform into a human, and brought it to New Thunderclap, where it could continue to push its skill. Fish guai was always bested in close combat, so devised a method of hurling massive snowballs with its tentacles, earning Yellowbrow's respect and the name Monk from the Sea. It ambushes the unsuspecting within the temple complex. Hundred-Eyed Taoist Master is the Yaoguai King of Chapter 4, who holds Sun Wukong's Envious Tongue relic and acts as lord over Yellow Flower Mountain and the Webbed Hollow below. In Journey to the West, the Taoist, who is actually a centipede demon in human guise, wishes to eat the Tong monk and achieve immortality. He's also the brother superior to the 7 spider demon sisters, Yaoguais that impersonate beautiful women to seduce then devour victims. The Spider Sisters caught Sanzang and Zhu Bajie while bathing in a spring, but Sun Wukong defeated them and they fled to the Hundred-Eyed Master for vengeance. He drugs and takes the monk hostage, but Monkey King retaliates by killing the Spider Guais. The Master's 1,000 gleaming eyes daze all enemies, even Sun Wukong, and the monkey must seek the aid of Bodhisattva Pilanpo to defeat the centipede demon using a magical embroidery needle. The Master is taken to Purple Cloud Mountain for his crime. In Black Myth, the Hundred-Eyed Taoist has returned to Yellow Flower Mountain and uses the temple and the Webbed Hollow as a breeding ground for new insect Yaoguais, which he traps and distills into pills or elixirs to again attain immortality. In Black Myth's lore, it's revealed the Violet Spider is one of the original Spider Sisters who actually survived death during the journey west due to Zhu Bajie's affection. The pair had a short romance which stayed Bajie's hand when her sisters were slain. She now resides as matriarch over the Jie estate and Webbed Hollow, where her daughters, a new generation of Spider Sisters, hunt. The second sister is the Violet Spider's second eldest and the only sister faced by the Destined One in battle. She was raised as a boy from an early age. She displays a straightforward and strong will, managing the estate for her family. The second sister uses an embroidery needle given by the Hundred-Eyed Taoist to enthrall Zhu Bajie and bring him to her mother, where he will be eaten, thus weakening the Destined One. Zhu Bajie must be fought on several occasions to clear his mind. One of Tong Monk's disciples and companions of Sun Wukong, Bajie was a great admiral in the celestial court, but was banished when his affections toward the goddess of the moon grew indiscreet. He was transformed into a pig demon, and the journey west was a chance at redemption. Zhu Bajie is often a victim of his own desires and lusts, though he has a noble heart. He transforms into a carp during the fight in the mud, as that was the shape he took when flirting with the Spider Sisters long ago. The Violet Spider, however, still harbors feelings for Zhu Bajie and can't bring herself to kill him. Elder Almaworm hatched from a celestial egg that was said in ancient times to have fallen from heaven. It produces insect eggs that, if ingested, devour the host's insides and transform them into gruesome insect Yaoguais. If the eggs hatch normally, they produce lesser armorworms. These worms weave traps of silk infused with toxins to bind and suffocate victims. The toxins have body-enhancing effects, but often lead to madness. Many humans and Yaoguais alike voluntarily wrap themselves in cocoons to become greater. One example of this is the Venom Taoist. The Venom Taoist is a disciple of the Hundred-Eyed Master who practiced for 100 years in the religion's art in hope of learning and ascending. He was deceived by the demon that true ascension lay in the cocoon of an armorworm, so had himself wrapped. His body is refined and enhanced, but mutates and grows several arms as his mind is shattered. The first time, he is found within the cocoon and must be broken out to fight. The second time he appears, the Venom Taoist guards the stone wall that leads to Purple Cloud Mountain. Centipede guai is a massive insect that resides deep inside the bone vault. Here, the remains and scraps of victims are tossed for the centipede and its thousands of lesser progeny to devour. All that's left is a pile of cleanly picked bones. It spews powerful toxins and commands deadly force when rolled into a ball. The hundred-eyed Taoist once placed eggs within the palms of two enormous hands. As the hands decayed, they transformed, and from the eggs hatched two insect yaoguais. Each had one hand for a tail. They were experiments conducted by the Taoist master to create yaoguais. After the left hand left to train in the mountain, the right hand kept a lonely vigil in narrow corridors where it could lure then smash prey with its tail. Commander Beetle was once an imperial guard of the celestial court, but fell prey to intrigue and was banished by a court official, transformed into a beetle guai. Commander Beetle is forlorn, hoping for a death that will end his suffering, but not before he can pass on his fearsome sword skill to disciples that are worthy. He leads a small force of pupils on the grounds of Yellow Flower Mountain. The name Duskvale harkens to this being's tragic transformation. It once was the Dawnstar, son of Bodhisattva Pilanpo, and one of the 28 mansions in the Taoist pantheon. Pilanpo created an embroidery needle from the Dawnstar's eyes to defeat the hundred-eyed Taoist during the journey west, and the Dawnstar himself aided Sun Wukong in slaying several insect guais. But the Dawnstar was captured by Yellowbrow's seed sack and brought as a prisoner to Purple Cloud Mountain, where he was forced to ingest a golden cocoon from the celestial realm as one of the hundred-eyed Taoist's experiments. This altered his body and mind, and he morphed into the grotesque Duskvale. He still resembles a giant rooster, and his now barren wings shoot bone shards. Once slain, his essence is used to make the Weaver's Needle vessel, which can be utilized against the Taoist master during his boss fight, alluding to the tale from Journey to the West. The Scorpion Queen was a Yaoguai demon who attempted to seduce Tong Monk, but was slain by the Dawnstar at Sun Wukong's behest. Her strongest mate, the Scorpion Lord, had helped birth a brood of sons, but since he couldn't give her a daughter, he fell out of favor. Following the queen's death, the Scorpion Lord brought his sons to Webbed Hollow in an attempt to secure a beneficial marriage with the daughters of the Violet Spider. While his sons ingratiate themselves within the Hollow's politics, the Scorpion Lord himself retreats to Purple Cloud Mountain to first seek vengeance against the Dawnstar, and then slink into the bottom of a bottle where he can drown the grief for his lost love in alcohol. Taoist Mi is a disillusioned man who has fallen for the false teachings of the hundred-eyed Taoist master. Under the demon's tutelage, Mi learned that fellow disciples and other humans were being eaten each night by the insect yaoguais that ruled this land. The only way to survive was to become a yaoguai himself, one step closer to the Tao, so said his master. Mi is obsessed with finding the eggs of the armorworm, which transform beings into insect guais, and after the Destined One gives him an egg, he consumes it, undergoing grisly mutation. Red Boy is the Yaoguai King of Chapter 5 who fights the Destined One over control of the grieved body relic, possessed by his father, the Bull Demon King, whom he has revolted against and seriously injured. In Journey to the West, Red Boy, son of Princess Ironfan and Bull Demon King, wishes to capture and eat the Tong Monk to extend his family's lives. He poses as a helpless child tied to a tree, but soon Wukong sees through the ruse. After several antagonizing confrontations, Wukong is unable to extinguish Red Boy's samadhi fire, so requests the aid of Bodhisattva Guanyin, who subdues Red Boy and forces him to become her disciple. In Black Myth's lore, he is born by Princess Rakshasi from the river of childbearing and contains the final soul of the Yaksha race, the kingdom having been betrayed and destroyed by the celestial court. After his discipleship with Guanyin, he returns to his old ways and stages a rebellion against his father, whom he despises as a weak fool that couldn't stand against the celestial court. Red Boy disguises himself as his half-sister Ping Ping, tied to a tree, and deceives the Destined One to retrieve Wukong's relic. After consuming the grieved body, he becomes the fearsome Yaksha king, but upon his ultimate defeat, he'd rather die than submit and commit suicide. Pale Axe Stalwart is Bull Demon King's second-in-command and a formidable drill sergeant despite his only recent appearance to the king's domain. Initially caught in rage, he fails to recognize the Destined One as an ally, and upon his defeat the Pale Axe Stalwart guides the monkey to the Bishui Cave, Chapter 5 secret area. In its depths lie Bishui Golden-Eyed Beast, once the Bull Demon King's most formidable mount. This aggressive guai guarded Red Boy's prison after his father had captured him. Red Boy escaped and Bishui Golden Eyes tracked him down, pinning him with its massive claws. The bull demon thought his mount had grievously wounded his son, and so he attacked it, suffering great wounds himself, but banishing the beast. Only then did he realize Red Boy feigned his injuries, then struck against his weary father. The elemental carts are infernal creations of Red Boy, meant to aid in his assault against the bull demon king. Each, though cumbersome, wields powerful elemental energy corresponding to the 5 elements: gold, wood, water, fire, and earth. These carts were birthday gifts given to Red Boy by his father. The young prince imbued them with samadhi fire, and they soon gained sentience, becoming Guais loyal to Red Boy. Father of Stones is a stone Guai from Yellowwind Ridge that received 1/2 of Shigandang's essence from the Yellow Sage and grew human form and heart. Father of Stones began to cherish a young girl who frequently hid within his mountain caverns to avoid her family's abuse. When one day she tragically died, Father of Stones took up her body and traveled across the lands in search of one who could bring her back to life. He learned of Lady Rakshasi's powers, but she steadfastly refused, stating that reanimating the girl's body wouldn't return her soul. Father of Stone is unwavering in his plight and remains outside Rakshasi's palace for generations, unable to accept the girl's death. He still clings to her bones. Quick as fire, fast as wind were 2 ruffians and close companions who one day accidentally killed a young nobleman whom they were robbing and were then sentenced to death. One ruffian was a member of the Falling Head clan and used his magic during the execution to preserve their souls. The pair's decapitated heads flew up into the sky and they became Yaoguais, inseparable in their destructive glee. Cloudy Mist and Misty Cloud are an unusual combination of 3 ghosts and a blind mountain deity. The ghosts tried to kill the deity and take his place, but were clumsy, and his hearing was too keen. When Red Boy found them bickering, they joined forces and proved formidable against him, but were ultimately bested. They became his captains and guarded his domain, but their contempt for one another remained unresolved, and neither the ghosts nor the mountain deity truly appreciated each other. Both Flint Chief and Flint Vanguard are creatures born from the Keeper of Flaming Mountain's magic at Red Boy's request, and are fashioned to mirror the qualities of the Stone Vanguard and Rock Guais found in Yellowwind Ridge. Red Boy, in his travels with Bodhisattva Guanyin, visited Yellowwind Ridge and grew enamored with its living stone creatures. After his return to the Flaming Mountain, he demanded such creatures be born out of molten lava to act as both guardians and companions. The Keeper submitted to his young lord's request, and these living stones fiercely guard the mountain. Woken from their dormant slumber once a strong enough enemy appears. The Keeper of Flaming Mountain was once Lord Lao's furnace keeper and page, and he labored alongside Princess Rakshasi. But after Sun Wukong emerged alive from Lord Lao's sweltering crucible and rampaged through Tushita Palace, the furnace keeper was banished to the mortal realm for his failures and Ten's Flaming Mountain. Rakshasi volunteered herself to descend to mortality with him to ease the keeper's burden, and they retain a strong relationship. As a master Taoist, he commands the yin-yang fish, a mythical creature that can fly, tear through the waters, summon storms, and spread virulent plague. It has been the bane of many coastal villages. Mother of Flamelings is prized for its golden flame ore held deep within its heart. It's 10 times larger than a typical flameling and gives birth to these fiery guais. She's lured by a large enough collection of flame ores as bait for those intrepid individuals wishing to claim a fortune, signified by the prerequisite of the Destined One to acquire 4 ores to summon her. Top Takes Bottom and Bottom Takes Top are 2 yakshas that took to the life of marauding after their kingdom fell and pushed them east. Rakshasi, the Princess Ironfan, found them and brought them to her fortress. As fearsome fighters, she gave them the task of guarding her domain. Each wields half of a spiked iron ball as a shield, and when combined, the iron ball can bulldoze any interlopers. Supreme Inspector is responsible for overseeing, guarding, and reporting any misbehavior within the Celestial Court. A fearsome warrior with an unwavering gaze, none wished to fall foul of the Supreme Inspector. He was responsible for the banishment of Zhu Bajie and his transformation into a pig. As a sign of his fidelity and his role as the Jade Emperor's right hand, the Supreme Inspector's head was replaced with a hand. In this manner, the Emperor's aura was always present. The inspector takes his role seriously, although his position grants him few friends or allies. He can first be met in Chapter 4 if the Destined One tampers with the talisman holding Yao Guai's prisoner within Webbed Hollow and Yellow Flower Mountain, then is fought in earnest in Chapter 6. Zhao Long of Waves is a form of water dragon akin to a salamander or crocodile and may be referenced to the flood dragon Demon King who once was Sun Wukong's sworn brother. This Yao Guai isn't part of the Color Long family throughout the game. Ancient belief holds that Jiao are water spirits that command the fish, waves, and weather, but wither if taken from their aquatic realm. They can survive only brief periods of time on land before they're called back to the waves. Son of Stones is the child of the mother and father of stones. Mountain deities are unable to leave their realm without due reason, so before the Son of Stones came of age and inherited his title, he set out in search of his father. Mother of Stones imbued a significant part of her essence to strengthen him on his journey, but fate had it that he set out in the opposite direction of his father. After traversing many lands and searching several mountains in vain, the son grew enamored with Mount Huaguo, slowly settling into its environs, and soon forgot about his duty and his missing father. The Poison Chief were created after Erlang Shen cleaved Mount Huaguo with his giant axe. An ancient tree begged a mystical stone, suffused with energy, to latch itself onto the stone for survival. The stone consented, but over time the tree's roots squeezed and ripped the stone apart, causing immense pain, and the two grew to hate one another. One day, however, the stone's essence allowed the tree to emit dangerous toxins, and the pair fed on the will of beings caught in its deadly mist. The 4 equipment bosses are Yao Guai manifestations of the Great Sage's legendary armor. The Cloud-Treading Deer represents Sun Wukong's Cloud Somersault ability and grants the Cloud-Treading Boots upon defeat, which confer the skill to the Destined One. The Gold-Armored Rhino embodies Wukong's plate mail, strong defense for the Great Sage. The Fangtail General grants the Fangtail Crown, a reference to the Phoenix Feather Cap of Wukong, and the Emerald-Armed Mantis grants the Monkey King's long bracers. These gifts were given to Sun Wukong, essentially through extortion by the Dragon Kings of the East long ago. Waterwood Beast is a 4-legged camphor tree that was uprooted long ago and lodged into a riverbed where it gained sentience. It was aggressive towards any who threatened it, but treated kind souls with benevolence. Its 4 legs could be referenced to the 4 wood beasts of the celestial mansion of constellations who helped Wukong defeat strong foes in the journey west. Giant Shigandang is a massive stone guai that emerged from the remnants of the stone egg that nurtured Sun Wukong. For centuries, the stone continued to absorb the essence of sky and earth, eventually gaining sentience and becoming a powerful stone spirit. But an unknown source planted a fleshy Buddha head on its back, which fed off the stone's will. In order to survive, the guai burrowed into the ground and absorbed the essence of its surroundings, eventually killing off plant and earth alike. The Buddha head corrupted the guai and gained conscious control over its body. The once harmless stone spirit became nothing more than a vessel of will to feed an insatiable Buddha. Erlang Shen is a noble and powerful warrior among the gods in the celestial realm and nephew to the Jade Emperor. He embodies righteousness and justice. Erlang is a master demon slayer and unparalleled in combat with his tri-pronged spear. Erlang possesses a third eye, sometimes called the Eye of Heaven, which allows him to see through all illusions, disguises, and transformations. He's accompanied by his demon hunting dog, Zhao Qian Quan. Erlang Shen is remarkable as being the only celestial powerful and skilled enough to equal Sun Wukong during the Great Sage's havoc in heaven. Erlang Shen's history and motives are complex. His mother was once imprisoned under a mountain by the Jade Emperor for disobeying celestial decrees, so he holds no love for the court. Erlang is also impressed with Wukong's skill and straightforward character. He respects the Great Sage, and they form a bond in secret. Together, they work to free Sun Wukong of his golden headband, which requires the sage's death and the scattering of his relics. Erlang Shen is first fought as we command Sun Wukong in the opening of the game, and then later in a secret area as we command the Destined One. The second fight sees both Erlang Shen and the Destined One transform into massive creatures, in reference to Journey to the West's fight between Erlang and Sun Wukong. Here, the god is assisted by the 4 heavenly kings. Each embodies a cardinal direction. King of the North rules the rain and wields a massive umbrella. Southern King rules the wind and wields a great sword. Eastern King rules music and harmony. He plays the stringed pipa instrument. Western King is the king who sees all and often commands a deadly snake or dragon. Stone Monkey is the lingering obsession of Sun Wukong, found in the Great Sage's dreamscape within the stone egg atop Mount Huaguo. Stone Monkey resembles the early life of Sun Wukong, before he ascended to heaven, before he attained his great relics, before he was humbled and journeyed to the west as Tong Monk's disciple. This is his primordial form, and it fights in a fiercely bestial nature. The Great Sage's broken vessel, meanwhile, represents Sun Wukong in his prime, resplendent in his armor and with his staff in hand. He's stolen the five senses back from the Destined One, and is the greatest challenge faced. To overcome him means the Destined One can assume his mantle. The broken shell, however, is without the sixth sense, Wukong's mind or soul, hence the moniker shell. It's a stone husk and simulacrum of what the victorious fighting Buddha once was. The six frog guais are found in various locations throughout Black Myth, often enhanced by elemental energy, and they tell the story of a wandering Taoist known as the Frog Immortal. As a youth, the Taoist sought to hunt and slay the frog guais. Though he failed with each confrontation, he learned martial skill and moral lessons. Eventually, he saw that the frog guais weren't evil and sought merely to live in harmony with nature. He sheathed his sword, gave up his quest, and instead traveled the lands to nurture tadpoles and observe other rare, enchanting frog yaoguais. The red, black, cyan, and yellow long are four dragon brothers and sons to a once powerful dragon king of Jing River. The Dragon King was an unsuspecting pawn in grander schemes and manipulated into violating celestial law, earning him a sentence of execution. With his death, the Long sought divination from the mystic Yuan Shaocheng, who cautioned them to hide and bide their time. The Longs dispersed for fear of death and took up in the domains of powerful Yaoguai kings for protection. Each Long was an arbiter of one of China's four large rivers, and their fates seemed to be tied to the Destined One. They're cryptically told to defeat a monkey to free themselves from destiny and punishment. The Red Long hides behind the waterfall in Black Wind Mountain. The Black Long behind the Sand River and Yellow Wind Ridge. The Cyan sits frozen on Bitter Lake, and the Yellow Long hid within the pattern of Yuan Shaocheng's tunic. They all command lightning and appear in various forms based on their age, station, and culture. Both Chen Long and Yin Tiger are creatures of the Chinese zodiac, and they inhabit the zodiac village, which is accessible through the Ruyi scroll upon Chen Long's defeat. The pair, along with Zhu Dog and Shen Monkey, were banished to the mortal realm following the Great Sage's adventures and death. They were gifted the Ruyi scroll by Erlang Shen, who wished for them to aid the Destined One on its quest. Chen Long cultivates seeds and gives the Destined One medicinal herbs, while Yin Tiger acts as a blacksmith to craft fine wares. He can be challenged to improve the Destined One's ability and armaments. Old Ginseng Guai, Fungi Woman, and Nine-Capped Lingji Guai are all spirits of the forest that inhabit or take the form of medicinal plants. Those who revere the forest are often granted life-extending boons from these yaoguais, while those who destroy nature feel their toxic and violent wrath. All are disguised as collectible herbs, but once pulled from the earth reveal their full bodies and strike at the Destined One. Thanks so much for watching and listening to this video on every boss in Black Myth Wukong explained. Now I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts on which boss you like the best, which story is the most tragic, as well as your own insights and suggestions for future videos in the comments below. And if you're a fan of lore and storytelling, be sure to subscribe to the channel, check out the podcast where content is uploaded frequently. I want to take a moment and thank all of my amazing supporters over on Patreon who make all of this possible. I couldn't do it without their fantastic support. If you'd like to become a lore luminary for access to me, written scripts, early video drops, and a great community, head to patreon.com/thelorebrarians to learn more. Until next time, go forth and explore the lore.